Vanakkam. Hello, friends. In today's episode in Know Your Roots, we will be exploring the Indus connect with the Tamil civilization in terms of names. Onomastics is the study of the history and origin of proper nouns, which may indicate names of geographical regions known as toponyms or names of people known as anthroponyms, and the Sangam literary works are an onomastic treasure trove of ancient Tamil history. Now, we know that in Tamil language, name goes by Peyer, which comes from the verb peyardal, which means to migrate or to move. Hence, when you say Pulam Peyer Makkal, we are talking about people from these regions who have migrated to foreign lands. Pulam meaning the geographical area. Now, a very ancient custom that has been in practice in Tamil culture for thousands of years is the practice of naming one's grandchildren after oneself. The grandson or granddaughter, Peyaran or Peyarthi, literally those who carry your name to generations and generations. Unfortunately, this is a practice that is dwindling today. And there is a lot of association with name or pair in Tamil culture, such as pair solla pilla veno, nalla pair vaangano, where the name is connected to pride, status, fame, wealth, and if you are a warrior or a king, to victory and conquests. Now, in this context, in the journey of a civilization, Mr. Balakrishnan has built a foundation to support the Dravidian hypothesis for the IVC link. And how does he do this? He has taken into account more than 12 lakh 66,000 names from the current topography of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and regions of India, which were all Harappan sites, and has compared them with the onomastic glossaries from the Tamil Sangam literary works, and has found correlates in terms of names of geographical regions and language, names of kings, poets, and chieftains, which makes for a very interesting study. And he finds the following two premises as the basis for his hypothesis. One is that when people move from one region to another, especially when they go as a mass migration, they carry their place names with them. Why do they do this? When people move to a very unfamiliar new region, by naming the region after their old place names, it immediately brings a sort of familiarity, a sort of an ubiquitous umbilical cord, so to speak, and a pathway to the past. Now, if I were to give an example from his book, he has mentioned how in the United States there are a lot of place names named after territories from Britain and Africa which saw mass migrations into the US. For example, York is a very, very British place name. And when the British immigrants came to the Americas and founded a city on the banks of the River Hudson, what did they name them? New York. Similarly, there is a little Ethiopia in Los Angeles, which should have been named thanks to the presence of African immigrants. Now, the next important premise is that even after people move out of a place, even after the language disappears and a civilization declines, these place names remain and they form a sort of a fossilized linguistic evidence, and they are easily verifiable because unlike pots or coins which are buried under earth and have to be excavated to discover, these names are there in records and government documents and are in continuous usage in day to day life. So, in that context, they become a very, very strong evidence of correlation. Now, taking this, the fascinating journey with Mr. Balakrishnan's work starts from the name Tamil itself. The name of a language is known as a glossonym, And when the name of a language is used to denote a particular territory, it becomes a demonym. So we know that the Tamil Nadu state is named after the Tamil language, and as a demonym, it is as recent as 1969. Till then, our state was known as the Madras Presidency. And Tamil as a place name is mentioned in Sangam literature as Tamilaham, where Aham means heart, and that is how close we are to our language. And other than that, in the Tamil country, the name Tamil does not occur as a significant place name for any region, whereas if you go to Pakistan, there is a Tamura, and if you go to Afghanistan, you find the following names: Tamula, Pottamil, Sattamil, and Panchtamil. Now, there is also a Tamil Goda and a Tamilia in Bihar, a Tamila in West Bengal, and a Tamili and Tamilikudi in Orissa. When Mr. Balakrishnan, as an IAS officer, was deployed in the Odisha cadre, while traveling to a very interior village, he came across a very inconspicuous name board, Tamili, the name of the village. And he mentions how this was a starting point that triggered his very fascinating journey into researching place names. Now, this said and done, the Tolhapiyam mentions Sendamil சேர்ந்த பன்னிரு நிலம். And Ilampuranar, who wrote the commentary to the Tolhapiyam in the 11th century AD, enlists all these 12 land names, namely Podungar, Voli, Tenpandi, Kutta, Kuttar, Pandri, Karkar, Chitta, Pulli, Malay, Aruva, Aruva, and Vadadalai. It is really astonishing to see that many of these territorial names that are now not found in Tamil Nadu occur as mono-word place names in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now, when we say a mono-word place name, it is a name without a prefix or a suffix, which attests the antiquity of the name and hence the region itself. For example, while Pandri, today here we have a Pandri Malay, and Kutta, we have here a Kudavasal, appear with the suffix. You find these as mono-word place names in the current IVC geographies. Similarly, we know that the Dravidian language tree has 27 languages, which are located to the south, central, north, and south central regions, as you can see in the accompanying map that is shown here. Now, a few of these language names themselves occur as demonyms, that is place names, in Afghanistan and Pakistan. You have a Toda, Kota, Tulu, Koi, Gondi, Manda, Kuruk, and Brahui, which are language names occurring there as mono-word place names. Here, the journey gets even more fascinating. Remember, in one of the previous episodes, we saw in Silapadiharam, Pahruli Aatudan Panmalai Adukattu Kumarikkodum Kodungadal Kolla. How there was a Pahruli river and a Kumari mountain which was swallowed by the waters, leading to the Kumari Kandam theory and all. It is very surprising to note that one of the tributaries of the river Jhelum in the Sindh province in Pakistan is called Pohro, and on top of which Pohro, Pahro, Pahrud, Pahur, and Pahrad are place names in Pakistan, reminding us of this ancient hydronym, name of a water body. There is also a Bahroli in the Garhwal district of Uttarakhand, a Bahruri in Himachal Pradesh, and multiple Bahrols in Gujarat. Kumari as a place name also occurs in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and in a neighboring district of Uttarkashi next to Garhwal, there are two Kumar courts. Here is where it becomes even more interesting. Adiyar Kanallar, the commentator on the Silapadiharam, divided the territory of the ancient Kumari Nadu into 49 regions. We saw this in a previous episode as well. the 7 regions of 7 provinces each, 7 Madurai, Munpalai, Pinpalai, Kurumbanai, Kunakkarai, Kundram and Tengam. Now, Panai, Palai, Kundru, Kundrak and Kundrai all occur as place names in Pakistan. Then Mr. Balakrishnan goes on to enlist a whole lot of mono-word place names from Sangam literary works, all of which are found as place names in the IVC regions. Now, if I were to take just one example from that, some of the mono-word place names occurring in the Perumbanatrupadai, Ilam, Kachi, Kotai, Kodi, Kolli, Palai, Palli, Podi, Vahe, Por. These are all mono-word place names in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and none of them occur as standalone names in the Tamil province. Some occur as a suffix. For example, Kotai, a mono-word place name in Pakistan. In Tamil, you have Pudukkottai, and when you mention Pudukkottai, I couldn't help but comparing this with New York. So, which was the original place and which got its place from a migration leaves a lot of food for thought. Another interesting point of evidence or support for the Dravidian hypothesis is that none of these place names are found in any of the old Sanskrit texts. Now, in the previous episode, I mentioned how if in a Sangam poem you found the word Thuraivan, you can take it for granted that it belongs to the Neithal region, meaning it was placed in a coastal setting. These names of particular regions that denote people are known as Tinai Nilai Peyar in Tolgapiyam. Again, Nachinarkiniyar, the commentator of Tolgapiyam, enlists the Tinai Nilai Peyar belonging to the 4 regions which are as follows: Kurinji, that is the hilly territory, Kanavar, Veduvar, Iruvular and Kundravar. People belonging to the Mullai region, Kovalar, Idayar, Ayar and Poduvar. People belonging to the Marudam region, that is the fertile lands, Ulavar, Kalamar and Kadayar. And those belonging to the Palai, that is the desert region, Einar, Maravar, Milli, Vidalai and Kalai. Now, we know that in present day context, except for a few of these names such as Ulavar or Idayar and Kovalar, the others are not in usage. But it is very surprising to see that some of these old Tinai Nilai Peyar occur as mono-word place names in Pakistan and Afghanistan, such as Kalamar, Vidalai, Mili and Ain. Now, next to this come the tribal glossaries, the names of tribal people of ancient Sangam literature that occur as place names in the IVC region. We again saw about Behan in our previous episode, how he led the Aviyar clan. There is an Avi occurring as a place name in Afghanistan. Oviyar is a tribal clan. You have an Oviran in Pakistan. Andar, a tribal clan. You have an Andar in both Afghanistan and Pakistan, to cite just a few examples. And taking on from here, the names of several Sangam chieftains such as Adiyan, Anji, Tidiyan, Killi, Began, Kottan, Mooran, Matti and Udiyan appeared as mono-word place names in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And continuing this, it is very interesting to note that Pari and Kari occur as mono-word place names in Maharashtra, and Ori, one of the other Kadayedu Vallalgal, occurs as a place name in Gujarat. So the connecting corridor or migratory routes are established here. And from the names of chieftains, let's now go to the Moovendargal, the Cheras, the Cholas and the Pandyas. For paucity of time, I will not go into everything but take just one example. Well, naturally, sitting here in Madurai, I will choose the Pandyas. It is very surprising to know that the following names occur as place names in Pakistan: Pandyar, Pandyanwala, Pandivahi, Pandi Mahana and Pandikosha, and the following as place names in Afghanistan: Pandi, Pandipain, Pandibala, and Pandigalo. Now, three of the most important Pandyan surnames are Valudi, Maran, and Chelian, none of which occur in place names anywhere in Tamil Nadu today, but you have two Chelian Valas and four Marans as monoword place names in Pakistan, beside a Maran Sar and a Maran Kohi. And Valudi occurs as a monoword place name only once. And do you know where? In eastern Iran. In the year 2010, at the Semmodi conference in Coimbatore, Mr. Balakrishnan announced his very important discovery of the KVT complex, the Korkai, Vanji, and Tondi complex in the IVC regions. All these three being very, very important ancient Sangam cities. And some of them, like Korkai and Tondi, are found even today as place names in Tamil Nadu. And this was a very important hypothesis that he submitted. There are many names from ancient Tamil texts that today occur as a suffix or a prefix in the Tamil country. Now, we will look into a list here and compare it with the IVC regions. Let's start with Palli. The author shows that there are 676 place names in Tamil Nadu today with the suffix Palli. Example, Tiruchirappalli. You have a Chappalli in Pakistan. Similarly, if you take the word cherry, cherry occurs as a monoword place name in Pakistan. Of course, here in Tamil Nadu, it occurs only as a suffix as in Tirumanancheri or Pondicherry. Again, you have Padancheri and Sangarcheri in Pakistan. If you take the word kai as in Korkai, there is a Korkai in Afghanistan and a Gorkai in Pakistan, a Kandihai in Tamil Nadu as opposed to a Kandihai, a Mangai, and Sharkai in Pakistan, and Gai as in Vaihai. There is a Vahai in Pakistan. Now, here is where it's very interesting. There is a Vai which is situated on the banks of the river Krishna, and Vai as a monoword place name occurs in 22 places in the IVC Gujarat Maharashtra regions, always situated on a water body, similar to our Vaihai. One of the most popular monoword place names is Patti, and here Patti occurs as a monoword place name in Pakistan, and in the Tamil regions you have 7,237 place names with the suffix Patti, like Koil Patti, Arita Patti, Akrai Patti. There is an Akara Patti in Pakistan, and there is Patti as monoword place name in Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Andhra, again sort of forming a migratory corridor. Woor as a place name suffix, Karor, Melor, Kallur. There are a lot of Kallurs in Tamil Nadu, and Kallur again is also found in the IVC regions as well as in Gujarat and Maharashtra and Karnataka. So much so that the author feels you can also have a Kallur corridor of migration where people move from the IVC region to the deep south. From here, the author then goes into the Aindine landscapes. Let's take one example, Kurinji, which is the hilly region most popular in Sangam literature, where there are many names to denote the word hills, such as Malai, Kodu, Varai, Mutti, Yenal, Kundru, Kodai, and all of these occur as mono word place names in Afghanistan and Pakistan. If I were to give just one example, Malay occurs as a mono word place name 3 times in Pakistan and once in Afghanistan. The author gives a level with the mean sea level elevation of these places. Malay only occurs as a suffix in Tamil country like Nagamalai, Chenni Malai, where it is always again situated in a hilly region. There is a Malasar in Afghanistan and Pakistan which almost sounds as if Malay Charda. Malay also occurs as a monoword place name in Haryana, Bihar, Uttarakhand, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. From here, the author goes on to enlist the names of Sangam poets, which makes for the most interesting of these lists. You have Moolan, Mamul, and Mamulan as place names in Pakistan, relating to Mamulanar, the Sangam poet. There is Nagai, you have Nahayar, Satan, Satanar, Nakira as a place name, we have Nakirar, Milai as a place name, we have Milai Kandanar, Tatang as a place name, we have Tatang Kandanar, Masat as a place name, we have Masatanar, Mangur and Manguri, we have a Manguri Mardanar, a Kottan in Pakistan, we have a Kottanar, a Kabila, and we have Kapilar. Now, all these place names, just with the R Vihidi, become the name of these Sangam poets. So, if I were to close with a quote by the author, Mr. Balakrishnan, the survival of the most part of ancient Tamil namescapes in the hills and plains of the northwest has to be acknowledged as the birth markers of both the Indus civilization and the Sangam texts. Let's continue about the cultural connect in the next episode. Vanakkam.